All right, party people. Let's go ahead and continue. As you can see, what I have here, we share the same fate as the animals. Okay? Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits us both. As one dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath. Humans have no advantage over animals. Okay? We feel the same pain. Okay? So, if my brethren continue thinking that the life of the animals don't matter, as you're gonna hear on the audio that we're going over, they don't have no right to be mad at the nations that treat us like we don't matter, because it's righteous judgment. Okay, as long as their heart condition and mentality is geared towards the animals don't matter, their suffering don't matter. Okay, the oppression of, because they're being oppressed. You don't think they're being oppressed in the slaughterhouses? You don't think they're being tortured? You don't think that they're miserable? Okay, these animals are not being treated with respect and or kindness, mercy, empathy, none of these things. Okay, no, they're being tortured and they're being murdered. So if you don't have no compassion on them, knowing that they feel the same pain, then that's a heart problem. Okay? You have a heart problem. All right? And you need to get right. All right? Now let's go ahead and continue. You can't eat animals unless you shed their blood. We weren't given animals to eat as a food source. And my brethren gonna have to get this understanding if they really are of the true and living God.
They to go to war. All praise to the Most High. I'm excited at the prospect of war. Finally, the end of the heathen existence. Here we go.
Yeah, and I get what my brother is saying, but he's looking at it from the wrong point of view. Again, it's about the mentality and the heart condition. You're not to be looking for the downfall of our enemies. We are to be focused on getting our heart condition and our mentality lined up with benevolence. That's where it's at. That's how we will rise. And yes, the other nations will destroy themselves. But that should not be our focus. That should not be what gives us joy, that they're destroying one another. We should pity them for their ignorance and their arrogance. Pity them for their arrogance, because arrogance is ignorance.
That's some comments talking about, oh, well, Ephraim is Russia, that's where listen, ain't nobody trying to go to Russia. There's nobody running over to Russia for safety. Nobody. Not one. No, not one. So, oh, well, when they left when God took them out of the Assyrian captivity and told them to go where no man dwelt, they went to a place in Russia where they dwelt, where men dwelt. Well, men don't live there, but the land, that's where men dwelt. Well, that's not where no man dwelt. That's not where no man dwelt. Oh, well, all the lands over there in Africa are Shem's, and that's where all the people are, and it's America's going to be blown up. I'm sorry, I beg to differ. I don't see where all the armies of the earth, of the heathen, is gathering in America to do any type of battle. I do see them gathering over in Iran-ish land, Turkey land, Saudi land, Middle East land, African land, European land, Asiatic land, to the Valley of Jehoshaphat to be judged there. Why there? Why would the prophecy state he will bring them to a valley of judgment, Jehoshaphat, where he will judge them. Why would he say that and then say, hey, Moses, let Joseph bring your people into the promised land? Because later on, I'm going to blow this promised land up, and I'm going to leave all the lands that the heathen has alone. Why would the Father allow all the heathens' lands where they have shed tons upon tons upon tons upon tons of blood, and by their own accord murdered Yahweh Shai? Why? Now, if people today are still stuck on this, oh, America isn't the promised land, then you are in error. You are a fool. You are simply a fool. And when I say America, I mean the Americas.
Yes.
You don't see no war popping off over here. Yeah, they're getting rid of these heathen offspring, these offsprings of heathen, these bastard offsprings of the heathens. Surely, they've got to go. But Ham is us. So okay, so Ham, if you're us, why is everything popping off over there? What prophecy shows that in the lands of Ham that cosplay to be Israelites, there will be a war? Where is that? Only the valley of Jehoshaphat. And this valley of Jehoshaphat is where all of them are going to go. And you can see it. All their weapons are poised against Iran, middle of their little spot. Matter of fact, that's where, Alexander was doing all his deviousness. That's where all his generals were attacking, skirmishing, destroying, killing. Why would the Father allow the colonizers' descendants over there to be held not accountable? That place has to be purified by blood, and blood it will. That's why all of these people are upset today, because they're realizing, oh shit, you mean that is true? And they're mad because they don't know what to do.
And that is accurate. My brother is accurate on that right there. Because we all reap what we sow. And the only way, that's in Numbers, let me go pull it up. Let's see. The way to heal the land. That's in Numbers. Oh, Numbers 35:33. Okay. All right. So my brethren know this verse, okay? My brethren know this verse. All right? Let's see. Do not pollute the land where you live, for bloodshed pollutes the land, and no atonement can be made for the land on which the blood is shed, except by the blood of the one who shed it. Now, remember Cain and Abel? And how the land itself testified of the murder of Abel? Literally spit him up. All right? Like the earth testifies of the bloodshed. What, you think the earth doesn't know? Okay? This is way deeper than most people realize. Okay? Because this is spiritual. All right? The spirit is more real than the physical. The spiritual is eternal. Okay? And do you think that the earth is not alive? is the Mother Earth. Okay? She is alive. All right? Do you think she doesn't know when blood is spilt? Do you seriously think that Mother Earth doesn't know that blood has been spilled upon her? Polluting her? Okay? So the only way that atonement can be made of one like Cain that killed his brother Abel, all right, that's why there was a curse that was put upon Cain. And if anyone slew Cain, okay, they would be cursed. All right, because he said, "Thou shalt not kill." Nevertheless, you reap what you sow. And free agency is Elijah. Somebody gonna kill Cain. All right, somebody ended up killing him. All right, and I think it was either Nimrod or Lamech. There's two different stories. One story says Nimrod, and another story says Lamech. But anyway, they both were wicked. Both Nimrod and Lamech was wicked. Okay, they were wicked men. Okay, they had a wicked mentality and a wicked heart condition. Thus, it was allotted by eternal benevolence for them to slay Cain. Okay? Yes. See, he allows the free agency of others for righteous purposes. All right? It's always for righteous purposes, the reason that eternal benevolence will allow wickedness. Okay? He doesn't allow wickedness for malevolent purposes. He doesn't allow malevolence for wicked purposes or for evil purposes. Eternal benevolence allows these things for righteous purposes. And the righteous purpose that he allowed either Nimrod or Lamech to slay Cain was to heal the earth of the transgression which Cain initially committed. Okay? Now, let's continue. Just like the true and living God is allowing the bloodshed today. Okay? So that land that my brother is talking about, there was a lot of blood spilled in the three parts. Okay? And just like over here in the fourth part. That's why this land ain't gonna not be touched at all. It is gonna be touched. Okay? Because there was much bloodshed in these lands. Okay? It just, he's accurate on the fact that it ain't gonna be destroyed. No, it ain't gonna be destroyed by nuclear fire because it's the blessed promised land. And he ain't gonna destroy his people that's upon this land. He ain't gonna allow his people to be destroyed as upon this land. Okay? So, but over there in the three parts, it's gonna get messed up over there. There's gonna be some nukes popping off over there, possibly. Most likely. Already, like they claiming that they blew up, 3 nuclear sites over there? Bro, that'd be some major freaking fallout if that was the case. But anyway, let me finish reading this, okay? And no atonement can be made for the land on which the blood is shed, except by the blood of the one who shed it, because that heals the land. Okay? So the perpetrator that initially shed the blood, their blood has to be shed, all right, in order for the earth to be healed. Now, yes, Nimrod or Lamech spilt the blood of Cain, all right. Well, that atoned the land. All right, that right there atoned the land because Cain was a wicked man and he spilled blood. Therefore, the land was healed. Now, if it continues to be bloodshed again, the land is healed with the blood that's shed of the one who shed it. Okay? Eventually, all the wicked is going to be dealt with. Okay? And the land will be healed. Now, a lot of people talk about, quote unquote, natural disasters. These things ain't natural whatsoever. when we are operating out of righteousness in one accord with the ever presence of benevolence, there would never be any destruction of the land. The land would not be going crazy upon the inhabitants. Okay? So the blood of the perpetrator is not always going to be spilt by another wicked person. Sometimes the Father allows the earth itself to take out the perpetrator. Okay, just recently, and this is not to say that the children were guilty, but nevertheless, this is one of the judgments against the wicked nations, that even their children is gonna be slain. Okay, but there was a lightning strike that it struck, I think, 18 people or something like that. I forget how many people was affected by this lightning strike in South Carolina. Let me see. This was recently. 20 injured in lightning strike at South Carolina Beach. This had never happened before, where 20 people were literally struck by lightning. Okay. This is a judgment. Okay. Not the fact that eternal benevolence struck these people with lightning, but the earth itself reacts to the wickedness that's been done upon it. Okay, and this was a warning because none of them died. Okay, they didn't die, but all of these things, these so-called quote unquote natural disasters, these are warnings. Okay, these nations have been getting warned. Okay, before their great judgment is upon them full force. Okay, tornadoes. Okay, these so-called natural disasters does the righteous will of eternal benevolence, taking out the wicked. Okay, even children. All right, you don't know what these children have done in their past lives, and you don't know what kind of judgment is on the parents of these children. Okay, everything that eternal benevolence does is in righteousness. Okay, people need to realize this. Okay, eventually there won't be any bloodshed. All right, he did say, "Thou shalt not kill." You know what's coming is that the whole earth is going to be full of the knowledge of the true and living God. Therefore, there won't be any bloodshed. The wolf will lie down with the sheep. Okay, the lambs will lie down with the lion. All right, a child will be able to play in a cobra's nest. Okay, that's how peaceful the land is going to be. There ain't going to be any tsunamis. There ain't going to be any tornadoes. There ain't going to be any forest fires and all of these things they consider to be natural disasters today. Because they have no real understanding of these things. Because this is spiritual understanding. This is spiritual clarity and understanding. When you are at peace with the ever presence of benevolence, then your land will be at peace with you. Okay? Do not defile the land where you live and where I dwell. For I, eternal benevolence, dwell among the Israelites. Okay? And the whole world is going to see the ever presence of benevolence dwelling with his obedient covenant remnant.
And they're looking for me and you to tell them something, to do something for them, to help them so that they can project upon us and blame us when things don't go right. And we already see nothing's going to go right. So the end game for them is a blame. That's why the Father said to us, hey, have no shame, because when this is all said and done, they will come to you and say, our fathers have inherited lies. We have inherited lies. Is-ra-lie, not lie, is-ra-lie. That's why all this is all befuddling the nations. That's why they doing all they can to go to the stores, to buy this, buy that, to feel good about their situation, to think about ways that they can let subconsciously subdue all the madness around them. No, this is the 12th woes. We've been saying it. That's why if you don't read other books, you will never understand what is going on today, because the other books provide you with context. Not a con game, but context.
Yes.
So when all of you guys are talking about, oh, we're Africa this, or we all African, sorry, that's offensive to me. We're not all Africans. Surely some of us have some of Ham's DNA, surely, but not all. Again, we don't look like this is nothing new under the sun. That's why the sun is busting blood vessels, creating commotion upon the recessive. And Ham out here trying to act like they got some way to go. What they doing? What is Ham doing? Who else is standing up in this world stating the facts of prophecy? We ain't talking about Jacob's trouble, because it don't look like to where I sit, it don't look like there is no Jacob's trouble, but it is likened to it, right? It is like it, but he shall be saved out of it. Who is he? Oh, that's the church. Really? Oh, that's Ish. Really? Israel and the church? Where's your Pope? You got this black Pope, he goes. Where are your pastors? They goes. The mouths of the kings have been shut. This is why, when an individual cannot acknowledge or accept the history of the world from a Eurocentric perspective.
The fact that they did it from a Eurocentric perspective, because the whole world is accepting that Eurocentric perspective. They are accepting that, but they're not acknowledging the fact that, hey, this is what happened. They're not seeing that this is what was imposed upon the indigenous people. That's what they're oblivious to. They're ignoring that this whole Eurocentric system, worldview, ideology, indoctrination, their whole reality was their will imposed upon the indigenous people of these lands. And the world is not acknowledging that.
They cannot accept what has been done based on European exploitation and colonization. Then you become a fool. You become led by the nose. You become yoked with the heathen. Oh, well, we all came from Africa. That's a yoking. That is coveting a land that's not ours, because the first and foremost land is our promised land. The subsidiaries, or the additional lands is not. Those are subsidiaries of the main lands, exactly. And it's what is it? Not subsidiaries. For lack of a better word, it's subsidiaries. Those are pieces of the main land of the promised lands.
Exactly. My brother is exactly right when dealing with this. Yes, my brother is right on point. Yes, America is it. Okay, North, Central, and South America, the set apart land. Okay, once the heathen got access over here, that was Satan's time to set his throne up over here on God's land. Okay, yes. And he has ruled the world from these lands over here. while holding his people as prisoners of war.
They're not all over. Here's the promise. Over in the Americas, again, it's the old world. You fools that are out here still trying to make this the new world, that's why you're going to be caught off guard. That's why it's going to come like a twinkling in the night, a thief in the night, when you realize, oh shit, I've been lied to.
Yes.
You find that out now, but you so disturbed in your soul that you chose to give up for fame and fortune and everything that goes with that. Now you're looking for a spirit and you have no soul. That's why Trump can do what he do. He ain't have no soul. That's why all these white folks, and I'm calling them out, all these white folks and black folks who claim to be these colorizations of dissatisfaction, of ignorance, this is why they can sit up here and do the things that they do. And people go, why are you doing this? Because they have no soul. Because in order to have been on top, rulership, ascend to reign and rule in this day and age, you had to give up something. You had to sacrifice something. Flesh and blood. You had to give up your soul.
Yes, that's what Lucifer requires. Benevolence requires you to sacrifice others, okay? And when you sacrifice others, you are losing your soul, okay? Yes, he requires you to sell out to him, okay? So when you sell out to him by spending all your time, energy, and effort for the rewards of the flesh, okay, that's anything that is tangible in this world, such as money, materialistic things, fame, fortune, honors of men, clout, status. All of these things is dealing with the flesh, is dealing with the superficial, okay? It has nothing to do with the spirit, okay? It has nothing to do with stirring up treasure in the kingdom, okay? It's all about enjoying this world. Okay, but the scripture says, do not love this world. He that loved this world, the love of the Father is not in him. So if you love this world and you're just living for this world and all the things that are in this world, okay, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life, the love of the Father ain't in you. Okay, and you end up selling your soul. Because the love of the Father is not in you. But what's in you is the love of money and materialistic things. Lust, okay? Status, all right? Fame, fortune, honors of men. That's what's in your heart condition. That's what's in the heart condition of most of humanity. Okay? Most of humanity don't have the type of heart condition that's literally set toward the kingdom, the righteous kingdom. Okay? And willing to sacrifice themselves, willing to sacrifice their wants and their desires, and even their bare necessities in order to fulfill their spiritual mission. Most people ain't gonna do that. All right, most people they not just refuse to do that, but most people can't do that. And the reason why they can't do that is because of the fact that they won't humble themselves enough to do that. Okay? Because the scripture declares, let's go there, okay? All right, the scripture declares, he that humble himself like a little child is the greatest in the kingdom. All right, so hold on, let me get it. All right, and I never cared about being great, okay? Definitely not in this world, and not even... Hold on a second, people. Yeah, I never cared about being great. I'm trying to find this scripture right quick. All right, here it is. All right. Sorry about that. All right, now. All right, let's continue.
Definitely not in this world, and not even. I did not set out to, be great, all right? But nevertheless, this is what the scripture says, okay? Let me show you. The greatest in the kingdom, okay? The greatest in the kingdom. Truly I tell you, he said, unless you change and become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. Therefore, whoever humbles himself like this little child is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. Now, why does he say that? Because a child is innocent and pure in heart. Okay? So, if you are pure in heart and in your mentality, and you seriously love the ever presence of benevolence, then that presence will empower you to stand, like literally be able to withstand the forces of Satan. Okay? Like you will literally be able to stand through the persecution and all the oppression of all those who are in opposition to your spiritual mission. Okay, so this is how your heart condition and your mentality is proven. Okay? By how you stand through the persecution. All right? Most people cannot stand through the persecution because they are not humble enough to accept the reproof by way of the Spirit of truth to make them aware of what transgressions they have been doing that grieves the ever presence of eternal benevolence, causing eternal benevolence not to dwell with them and be in one accord with them. Okay? We have to line ourselves up to the ever presence of benevolence. The ever presence of benevolence don't align itself to us. Okay? No, we have to align ourselves to that presence. Okay? Now, like I said, when you come in the presence of eternal benevolence, well, before you can even do that, you have to humble yourself like a little child. Nevertheless, in these days, you are in the presence of eternal benevolence when you encounter his meek, tender-hearted vessels of mercy. And because we're wrapped in flesh and blood, you don't know this whatsoever. So you do all of these things unto us, persecuting us, mistreating us, ostracizing us, and all of these things, but we are pure in heart. We seriously live our life in reverence to the ever presence of benevolence. We don't participate in anything malevolent. Okay? Therefore, we can be sustained by that presence even when we're suffering. Okay? The only way that you can stand through all of the opposition when you have a spiritual mission such as what I've been given, okay? Like, how else would I be able to literally not break down and go crazy because I don't have money in a world that requires money? Okay? I'm constantly being punished because I don't have what this system is requiring. And everyone around me knows that I'm suffering through this. And hardly no one has offered to assist. Okay? So practically everybody have shut up their bowels of compassion unto me. Literally left me out here suffering. Long
suffering continuously. And these messages been out here repeatedly. Is in many blog posts. I put my life on social media. When I put out the blog post how I have 31 cents in my checking account, literally all together I had less than $3 to $4 to my name, if that. Not one person reached out to help fill me where I'm lacking, regardless of how I've been putting out all this work by way of the Spirit, regardless of how hard I work to bring you this word by the leading of the Spirit. I'm not doing it for your money. But why don't you care about me? You know that money is being required of me. But just because money is being required of me doesn't mean that that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I'm not doing this for your money. I'm doing this for your benefit. I'm operating in my spiritual mission. But again, why don't you have compassion? Why haven't the people shown compassion? Why haven't the people shown mercy unto me to help me out of their abundance of their money, knowing that it is being required of me, and because I don't have it, I am suffering? It is about the mentality. It is about the heart condition. It's not about your money. It's about you caring about me. It's about you cherishing the spiritual message that I've been instructed to give. Thus, I've been having to rely upon His Spirit so that I don't go crazy, because I literally don't live my life in a selfish manner. I don't have a selfish heart condition. I have a very generous heart condition. I am a selfless being. But yet the whole world have shut up their bowels of compassion unto me. This will make most people go crazy. This will make most people literally go postal. Like, how can you treat me this way? How can you be this way to me when I'm not this way to anybody? This will cause a lot of people to literally end it. You know? But yet I endure it, relying upon His Spirit. See? People have summed up the death of the Messiah as a human sacrifice. That is not what He came here to do. Like, you're summing up what I'm doing is depending upon other people to take care of me. I'm here doing what I'm doing for people's money. See, that is a superficial mentality. You're viewing it based upon your erroneous ideology. Like, you act like just because the wicked established this, I have to conform to it. So, just because the wicked murdered the Messiah and the Messiah was proven a point by not calling upon 10,000 angels to put a stop to it, to allow the wicked to fulfill the evil intentions of their heart condition, because He allowed it, people want to equate that to a human sacrifice, claiming that He's doing it to cover their sin. Like you claim that I'm doing this for your money. I'm not doing this for your money. And he didn't allow them to murder him to cover your sin. He allowed them to murder him to prove the point that we were all given free agency via the ever presence of benevolence. And he was going to use his free agency to allow them to have theirs and to demonstrate divine love. See, I'm using my free agency to demonstrate divine love and to prove that I am not selfish. I am selfless. Therefore, I go through the long suffering. I am proving that I am not dependent upon people to take care of me. Because if I was, then I would not be enduring this long suffering. Because people have not been taking care of me. Whoever welcomes a little child like this in my name, what's his name? Loving kindness, benevolence, all things good. Whoever welcomes this little child, whoever welcomes a little child that has these qualities, welcomes me. Why is it that you detest me? Why is it that you want to teach me a lesson to respect money? Is money the true and living God? That's what you think? That's certainly what's in your mentality. Because if it wasn't, then you would be generous unto me with your money. But you're not generous unto me with your money. You're stingy unto me with your money. Because you cherish your money. You love your money. You value your money, but you do not value me. Therefore, you are rejecting the one that sent me. But this is how to be the greatest in the kingdom. And this is not something that I sought for. I didn't seek to be great. I sought for clarity and understanding to the life that was being imposed upon me. Okay? I could not get with this wicked ass system, forcing selfish ambition for the love of money and materialistic things, building a successful life for myself in this world. That wasn't me. And because of it, I was demonized and ridiculed, hated, and rejected. But because of all of this, if I endure, that is a sign that I will be great in the coming kingdom. Okay? In the eternal kingdom, the righteous kingdom. All right? But again, that ain't what I sought for. I just been made aware that I'm on the narrow path. So those who are on the narrow path, the remnant within the remnant, without blood guilt, all right? Because that's important. You sitting there acting like the animals don't matter. And then at the same time, you know that the nation's been treating us like we don't matter. Until you own up to your transgression of treating the animals like they don't matter, you have no right to be upset with the nations treating us like we don't matter. Okay, because it's righteous judgment against us. In order to get our heart condition correct toward all humanity and all creation. Okay?
And now their souls are done. And they're like, well, wait, what about trying to get some spiritual truth? Well, there's no spirit. The spirit cannot lay where there is no soul. You are an empty vessel. And all of you people who still want to proclaim that Jesus Christ is the good news and the gospels, you're a fool too. Why? Because you don't understand that Rome murdered him. No, it wasn't. And the Herodians.
And our people. We murdered him as well because we handed him over to the worst of the heathen to have them murder him. All right? And I'm going to prove this. All right? I'm going to prove it. All right? First, I'm going to get in the Gospel of the Holy 12. Come on, computer. All right, now we're gonna go right to the Passover. Let's see. Gotta figure out which one it is. Let's see. 75, yeah. All right. Now, in the evening, this is going to be Gospel of the Holy 12, Lection 75, the Last Supper, okay? All right? The Passover, okay? And at evening, the master cometh into the house, and there are gathered with him the 12 and their fellows, Peter and Jacob and Thomas and John and Simeon and Matthew and Andrew and Nathaniel and James and Thaddeus and Jude and Philip and their companions. And there was also Judas Iscariot, who by men was numbered with the 12 unto the time when he should be manifested. Okay? And they were all clad in garments of white linen, pure and clear, for linen is the righteousness of the holy ones, and each had the color of his tribe. But the master was clad in his pure white robe, over all, without seam or spot. And there arose contention among them as to which of them should be esteemed the greatest. All right? Among the disciples there arose contention among them to which of them should be esteemed the greatest. You know how our people are. All right? You know our so-called black people are, competitive with one another and whatnot. Who going to be the greatest among them, okay? Wherefore he said unto them, he that is greatest among you, let him be he that serves. Okay? See? That's why eternal benevolence is all powerful, because eternal benevolence is not an energy source that is self-serving. Okay? It is a serving energy source. All right? That means it's divine love. Benevolent. Okay? That means it is for us. All right? Not against us. Okay? All for us. Okay? All infinite love, compassion, kindness, mercy, empathetic, long-suffering, generous, okay? Pure, okay? All of these righteous attributes is not self-serving, Okay? That's the greatest power, not malevolence. That's self-serving. Okay? Now, let me see if I can prove this right quick. Okay, let me show you that the true and living God is um to serve us. Okay, the true and living God serves the creation. We were created to be happy for eternity. Okay, I have a video that's entitled "We Were Created to Be Happy." The eternal living God has always desired for us to be happy. And this has a lot of hits for serve, bro. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to find it. That's a lot of hits for serving. Hold on. Okay, that's better. Hopefully I can find it this way. Okay, behold, I am a celestial spirit, and it is in my desire to be a servant unto others, and by the course of my power that I know I will have, because of the joy that I receive in serving others, I will create more joy among them. Okay, hold on. Okay. And with this power, I will cause that new laws are formed which guarantee that all of the spirits that I create will become like unto me and have the power and glory that I have. Is this not a righteous desire? I do not do this for myself, but to serve the just cause of eternal happiness. Yeah, even by giving this happiness to all without the pain and sorrow of which our Father has spoken. Now, actually, in this passage, this is Lucifer speaking, okay? So this ain't who I'm trying to fine, because Lucifer, though he was a celestial spirit at this time, and he, desired to be a servant unto others, his idea of being a servant unto others is providing a means of self-serving, a selfish ambition. All right, so I'm not even trying to get that. So hold on, let me go to the next one because I'm trying to find. It might be before this actually. Let me see. See. Okay, this spirit was a great one among those that the Father had created, and his name is Lucifer. Okay, hold on, let me get before this. Let's see. This is gonna. I'm not trying to take forever. I thought I could find it quick. Let me see. Oh, hold on. Self-serving. This government shall never be self-serving, or in other words, it shall never act in and of itself and of its own accord for the sake of its own existence, like the system that we were born in. Okay, the system that we were born in is clearly self-serving. Okay, this is exactly why they imposed selfish ambition. All right. Let's see. I have previously explained unto you what the desires of happiness are of those who reside in the celestial kingdom of the true and living God. And I have also explained unto you that these beings exist to serve us. Okay? And also to assure us the eternal happiness that each of us desireth according to each of our individual desires of happiness. Okay? He gives us the desires of our heart. All right? We have the freedom of choice to fulfill the desires of our heart. All right? And I have also shown unto you that a celestial being shall do nothing except it benefit those whom it has been given the power to serve. And by serving others and bringing them happiness, this celestial being receiveth its happiness, which is its own eternal reward. Okay, and with a celestial body, a God can command the elements and they obey him. And this is the thing that the Spirit restraineth me to explain further unto you. Alright, so hold on. See if we can find more. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, because Lucifer desired to gain glory for himself. So he claimed to want to serve others, but it was only for the purpose for him to receive the glory for himself. And in order for him to receive the glory for himself, he had to come up with a plan to be able to get the glory for himself. Okay? Because when you think about it, the earth was created with all the natural resources upon it for the benefit of all humanity and all creation. All right? We were given the seed and everything that we needed. Okay? The earth was already producing that which we could ever want and or need. Our lands, okay, already produced that which we could ever want and or need. Okay? We did not have to earn money for a living. However, Lucifer was able to begin to get the glory for himself by implementing a monetary system. Okay, so that's exactly what he did. He implemented a monetary system, therefore usurping the rightful power of this land, okay, our God, okay, because this is God's land. This is the promised blessed land, okay. He set up his kingdom upon this land. And with his kingdom came the economic system. And with the economic system, we are required to sustain ourselves with the economic system. Okay, hold on. Let me show you. I'm proving it. Okay, I prove every single thing that I'm instructed to bring out. All right. All right. Now, this economic slavery did not come from the true and living God. As I stated, this earth was created for the purposes of sustaining the creation. All right. But when the wicked came and colonized these lands, they took possession for themselves. All right, Lucifer was able to utilize these wicked nations for his purpose. Okay, come on now. All right, so perpetual slavery. All right, and the Christians were used, okay? These so-called Christians, these Constantine Christians, all right, they were used by Satan. They were used by Lucifer. So they came and they took possession of our lands, our islands, okay, all of our lands, all right, our harbors, our seas, okay, everything that was freely given unto us, all right, and reduced us to perpetual slavery, all right. So they took our lands and all of our resources by force, literally impoverishing us, all right, taking away our livelihood, okay, literally disenfranchising us. So now that we're disenfranchised and we don't have a way to sustain our lives, now their solution is economic slavery. And this requires the people to feed and house themselves. Well, how do they do that? They do this by earning the reward of money for a living. But money is the image of this beast system. Okay? So this is one of the most ingenious scams for social manipulation ever created. And at its core, it is an invisible war against the population. Okay? You think this came from eternal benevolence? To be forced to follow the dictates of the wicked? Came from the Federal Reserve Bank, the bankers, okay? These people who you consider to be, quote unquote, God's chosen people, they are the synagogue of Satan, okay? They are the synagogue of Satan. They are not God's chosen people. All right? They enslaved God's chosen people. Okay? So his true chosen people are in captivity. Still. Okay? Dumb verses is still different. Okay? Thomas Jefferson stated that he trembled for his country. I don't know why the hell this got to take so long, bro. Come on. All right? I tremble for my country when I reflect that the true and living God is just, and that his justice cannot sleep forever. See, this Gentile knew that there was only a certain amount of time for this wickedness over the covenant people of the true and living God. Okay? Not indefinitely. Dumb diverse is still different. He knew that there was going to be a time that it was going to be different. Okay? He also knew, Thomas Jefferson, he also knew that private banks, bro, my computer is like really is like, preventing me from doing this. Like, I'm literally trying to flow by way of the spirit, and it's like literally hindering me. Like, oh my goodness, okay? So he says, if the American people allow private banks to control the issuance of their currency, first by inflation and then by deflation, the banks and corporations that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all their property until their children will wake up homeless. Well, isn't homelessness skyrocketing? Isn't it skyrocketing? All right? Homelessness and starvation is on the rise because of greed. Okay? Greed is insatiable. It is insatiable. You cannot satisfy greed. It's a demon. Greed is a demon. Okay? And it's never satisfied. Okay? You will never satisfy the lust of greed. All right? So when we live in a system that's built on capitalism, this is going to cause homelessness and starvation. It's oppression of the population. This did not come from eternal benevolence. This came from malevolence. It came from Satan. It came from the adversary, Lucifer, who fell to his lower carnal nature, which is Satan. Okay, so we're living in Satan's kingdom. All right? Till different. Okay? Till different. All right? Let's see here. Bro, I'll be trying not to get so deep in this because I'll be going for hours. All right. These days, and this is going to be the sealed portion, chapter 20. Okay? Many people are following the leaders of these nations. All right? And their leaders are leading them into a battle against your brothers and sisters. All right? And you kill one another in anger. And they, in recompense for what you have done unto them, shall kill you. And if it so be that they are a nation of people who do not have the strength to kill you, then their children and the children of their children, even for many generations, shall wait until the time that they are strong enough to rise up against you. And then they shall make war against you because of the things that you have done unto their families. And you shall begin to follow the doctrine and commandments of men, and shall cause to be established among you diverse religions and priesthoods that conform to the beliefs that you have taught to your children, which beliefs are contrary to the gospel and the commandments of the true and living God that I am giving unto you at this time. And these religions and these churches and the leaders that you follow shall cause you to hold fast to the family divisions that you have created for yourselves. And they shall preach gentle words unto you that will keep you lulled away in carnal security, while many of your brothers and sisters who live in other families, in other nations beyond the borders of your own, shall suffer because of you. But you shall not concern yourselves about those in another nation or in another family, because they are not of your family, and they do not believe the same things that you believe. And because they do not believe the same things that you believe, you shall consider them unworthy of the blessings of God, which blessings you believe are the things of the world. And you believe that those blessings of God are your gold and your silver and all of the precious things that you have accumulated for your family. And then shall the words of Lucifer, which he spoke unto the Father in the beginning, come to pass, in which he said, and with the enmity that thou hast placed between me and the children of men, I will take the treasures of the earth, and with the gold and silver I will buy up the armies, and the means of force, and the priesthood, and the religions, and I will reign with blood and horror on this earth. We can look around in the world that we're living and literally see that this has happened. Now, I would that you should understand what Lucifer meant by this enmity that the Lord has placed between him and the children of men, which are all of us. For Lucifer had desired to gain glory for himself, and this is contrary to the first law and principle of the government of the heavens, that stated that this government shall never be self-serving, and it shall never act in and of itself, and of its own accord, for the sake of its own existence. And the plan that Lucifer had presented to us as spirits was rejected by the majority of us, and was a plan that could not be accepted because of its violation of the eternal laws of heaven that cannot be violated. But there were many of the spirits that desired the things which Lucifer presented unto them, and these followed him, and were cut off from the kingdom of God at that time. Now this was the fight in heaven, where Lucifer and a third of the angels were casted out of the highest kingdom. This is when there was the fall of Lucifer and a third of the angels from the celestial realm. Okay? And they became known as the fallen angels. Okay? And they have been with us here upon the earth in the realm of the spirits since the beginning. And Lucifer has also been here among us. And he tempted Eve. I'm not going to go through all of this, okay? Now, as you can see, Lucifer has his own kingdom and receiveth his own glory upon this earth among those that follow him and keep his commandments, which are the same commandments and precepts of mortal men. And his kingdom consists of all of you who disobey the commandments of the true and living God. And instead you follow Lucifer's enticements. Okay? Now, I just proved this, okay? So the true and living God is not self-serving, okay? It serves, that power serves us, okay? The first principle and law of heaven pertaining to a government that this government shall never be self-serving, or in other words, it shall never act in and of itself or of its own accord for the sake of its own existence. Okay? This is important. All right? And if this be the case, then there shall be much contention and discord among those in the glories whose desire of happiness are self-serving and centered only in their own happiness. That's the world that we've been forced to live in, where people are focused on their own happiness. So because they're focused on their own happiness and they are self-serving themselves by earning their money for a living for their own happiness, they got no real love or compassion or kindness or mercy or empathy in their heart condition toward their neighbor. Okay? But I'm the opposite of that. And people don't care about that. People want to try to force me into participating in the contention and discord. I don't desire the happiness for myself. Okay? This is not about me getting my own self-centered happiness. Alright? I'm about bringing happiness for all humanity and all creation. Why don't you care about that? Why don't you care about my spiritual mission? Why do you keep trying to force me to participate in selfish ambition of earning money for a living? Money did not create this earth. You're trying to force me to be complacent with evil. And that is only revealing your corrupted mentality and your hardened heart condition. You're gonna quit demonizing the true servants of the ever-presence of benevolence, because we be given the clarity and the understanding, and I know who I am. Therefore, you can no longer manipulate me. All you can do is continuously keep me long suffering because of your selfishness and your greed. Your complacency to great evil. Behold, those of a celestial glory only use those powers in the service of others, and never for their own benefit or glory. And this is according to the laws of this kingdom of glory. And if these powers are only used for the benefit of others, then what shall be the cause of any contention among those who reside in this type of kingdom? Do you not realize that this is the kingdom that I am ushering in? Why are you standing in opposition? Why do you want to keep upholding the kingdom of Satan? And then you want to freaking demonize me. As if I am the problem. No, sir, no, ma'am. You are the problem. All you people who love evil. You are the problem. Not his servants. You are following after Lucifer. Unknowingly. But this is exactly why we're instructed to bring this word to you. Okay? Alright, we're at an hour and 15 minutes. Let's continue. Not malevolence. Let me get the whole context. Alright, hold on. That's the greatest power. Not malevolence. That's self-serving. Okay? That's the adversary that wanted to be worshipped. He did not want to keep to his station to serve us. Okay? He rebelled against that. He didn't like that. He didn't like the fact that he was being instructed to serve us. Alright? He didn't want that. He was like, why should I serve lesser beings than me? They're gonna serve me. So that's why he rebelled. And now you got pretty much all of humanity serving Satan. Okay? Serving Lucifer. Okay? Yes, they're serving the adversary. And they have rejected the eternal energy source that is the essence that serves us. Okay? Is a serving energy source. All right. Okay, so you see this right here, Jeremiah 15, or I'm sorry, Jeremiah 5:19. All right. This was our judgment. Okay, because of the bloodshed that we were doing in this land. Okay, we were serving blood gods. Okay, these were the gods of the other nations. All right. We were serving the gods of the other nations. We refused to serve our God of the ever presence of benevolence, okay, by keeping the pure covenant, all right? So therefore, we went into this captivity. And when the people ask, why has our God allowed this upon us? Then you will tell them, as you have forsaken me and served foreign gods, blood gods in your own land, so now you will serve foreigners in a land that is not your own, because they came over here and they took over our land and they established their wicked ass system. Now we are prisoners of war, enslaved to their system. Okay? And now we are either a slave to their monetary system by earning money for a living, or we are enslaved to their monetary system by the necessities of life, because we are not earning the money for a living. All right? So I'm enslaved to necessity. I am a slave of necessity, because I am a human being. I am in a fleshly body. Therefore, I do have want and need of many things. But in this wicked ass system, money is being required from me. And people are not showing mercy. Nevertheless, I keep giving you this living word by way of the Spirit, for all who can receive it. Is the essence that serves us, okay? That's benevolence. Benevolence serves us. Is a serving energy source, all right? Forever serving us. The earth was created for our benefit. Okay? It was not created for suffering and misery. Okay? It wasn't created for those purposes. It wasn't created to be miserable. It wasn't created to be suffering. Okay? No. But it was allotted into the hands of the wicked for good reason. Because the original people who had the reins of the earth did not keep the covenant with the ever presence of benevolence. We wanted to shed blood. We wanted to pollute the earth. We wanted to drive away his presence. He can't be in the presence of wickedness. What you expect? When you're literally causing suffering and misery, pain and agony, all of these things, you're doing this when you're slaughtering the animals that feel pain. Would you like to have your neck broke? Would you like to be butchered and eaten? Then quit doing it to the animals. Would you like to be shot? Would you like to have your brains bashed in with a mallet, butchered, and then bought in a grocery store, and cooked, and eaten? Quit doing it to the animals. Okay? Let him be he that serves. He that is greatest among you, let him be he that serves. Alright? You know, when the scripture says humble yourself like a child, it doesn't mean be a child. It means have the heart and the mentality. Like you ain't got a mindset full of a whole bunch of dogmatic belief systems that you done learned all your life. Okay? By the time you freaking 40, 50, 60 years old, you done had a whole lifetime of a Eurocentric worldview being imposed upon you in every aspect of your life. Okay? So, you are not humble like a child because you're holding on to this whole false ass reality. Everything that you learned in the school system, everything that you learned via your religion, everything that you done seen on television, everything that you experienced in your lifetime of growing up in this reality, okay? All of that you're holding on to for dear life. Like it's who you are. It's not who you are. It's who you have been constructed to be by those who constructed this false ass reality. That is not the real you. The real you is not summed up by your money and materialistic things, your status, your clout, your honors of mortal men. That ain't who you really are. That means when this whole false ass reality goes away, many of you gonna be mentally shattered. Cause you ain't gonna know who the hell you are without this false ass reality. In order to know who you are, you must go within. I did hold on a second. Yeah, before I get into that, because I'm looking for something right quick, people. There was something that popped in my spirit, and I'm really trying to hold on. I don't want this being so long, bro, but I be having to follow. Let's see. I have to follow what's in my spirit. Let's see. Alright. Let's see. Exposing the illusion. I don't know if this is it or not. I think I brung it out too not too long ago, but I don't think this is it. I thought Hi, Taiki. Shh. Hush. Shh. Taiki. Hey. Chill. Let's see. Man, I don't know the key word for it. All right. Hang it. It's just like mental slavery. Let's see. Most people would not know. Let me see if I can find this. All right, all it is, it's more. It's something specific that I thought and I could find easily, but doesn't seem like I can. No idea that. No idea of the evil system we've been up under. This is a whole system we've been up under, people. It's a wicked ass system. You don't see it, and I am not respected for revealing it unto you. Like I'm not seeking the clout and honors of men, but clearly I have a purpose, and you people have just been blatantly ignoring it and treating me as if I'm irrelevant. Like treating me as if I am of no value. But I do have value. I'm here to help you. Why are you refusing the help? Okay? Like, bro. That's not what I'm looking for. Outside of the system. Most people wouldn't know their purpose outside of the system. Most people would not know their purpose outside of the system. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. Most people won't know their purpose outside of the system. I don't know if Google's gonna bring it up. Right, because people have accepted the superficial purpose that was given unto all of us by those who established this system of economic slavery. Okay, so you got the educational institution, societal expectations, all right, hustle culture, all right, comfort zones, fear of failure, all of these things, okay, this is a constructed reality that they wrought over us. All right? This is not the purpose that was given unto us by eternal benevolence. Okay? We all have a special spiritual purpose. All right? As most people don't find their purpose. All right? They don't find their purpose upon earth. They seriously think that their purpose is to earn money for a living. Okay, that is not our purpose for coming to the earth. All right? Although the true and living God allowed it for a righteous reason. And I got plenty of other videos going into the reason why the true and living God allowed this purpose. For several reasons that he allowed it. Okay, he allowed it. And I'm not going to get into it right now, people. All right? But he has a purpose for everybody. Okay? And we all get the desires of our heart. There's some people that literally desire to, obtain the physical prosperity. That's their heart's desire. So he allowed it. And he allowed it because of our wickedness. He allowed them to fulfill their heart's desire to obtain all the treasures of the earth by destroying us. Okay? Due to our wickedness. But this is not the desire of everybody's heart. Okay? I don't got the type of heart condition that desires the physical prosperity of the earth. That has never been what my mentality and my heart condition was set upon. Okay? My heart and my mentality has always been set upon spiritual clarity and understanding. I didn't know it at the time, but that is eternal wealth. Okay? That's eternal prosperity. So that's where my heart is at. My heart is with the eternal, real prosperity, not the physical prosperity that's only temporary. Okay? So, because of this, I have a different purpose. All right? And I failed my spiritual purpose. But literally, people are persecuting me because of this spiritual purpose that I have been given. Okay? Because their desire is for the physical prosperity of the earth. Okay? That which is tangible. That which they can see with their mortal eyes. Alright? So they deem me worthless. And, they don't see me as valuable. They see me as a leech. Because I'm not joining along in selfish ambition. I'm not participating in selfish ambition to earn the reward of money for a living. So they look at me and it's like, well, you not worth my money. Because you would never be able to give it unto me if I ever needed it. If I was ever in need, you would not be the one to be able to give me money. Therefore, why should I give it unto you? See, that's not a generous heart condition. You are a type of giver that you give with conditions. All right? You give expecting to have it returned unto you. Okay? I have a different type of wealth. All right? And most people don't want the type of wealth that I have received and been freely giving. All right? Unfortunately. It is very unfortunate that most people don't want the eternal wealth. They want the temporary wealth. They want the fool's gold. They literally want what's temporary, what's here and now. Okay? And they demonize me, because they can't see. They can't physically see that which I have been given, though they can. They can physically see in my physical actions. They can physically see my physical suffering. They can physically see my physical misery. It's very evidently crystal clear because I put my life on my channel and on my Facebook. On TikTok. It's out there. So people physically see my suffering. They physically see my actions of benevolence. But yet they choose to be wicked to me. They choose to be evil unto me. They choose to be selfish unto me. They choose not to be generous unto me. And all of it is going to come back upon them. And this is not what I want for them. I would like for people to humble themselves like little children, unlearn the indoctrination, and relearn by way of the Spirit. Accept the reproof via the Spirit of truth, and be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Have a transforming of your heart condition from stony to a heart of flesh. It starts with a man in a mirror, people. See, you're so quick to assume things about me. But I went within. I humbled myself. I accepted the reproof via the Spirit of truth. I ain't got a monopoly on it. But in order for you to receive what I've been given to freely give, you must do the same thing as I had to do. It's the same thing for all his servants. It's the same for all those that choose to follow the promised anointed one, the good shepherd. My sheep hear my voice and they follow. You can't do it your own way and think that you can obtain what we are freely given. Okay, you must enter via the sheepfold. You can't come up some other way. What makes you think that you can buy what we've been given by way of the Spirit? That's like, what's the name of that one wicked, I can't remember the name of this wicked freaking priest that was literally asking the disciples how he can buy the power that we have been given. We have the authority of the Spirit of truth, and the wicked, they covet what we've been given. They covet our wisdom. They covet our clarity. They covet our understanding. But they are not willing to humble themselves like little children in order to attain it for themselves. Okay? See, they don't want to do what they have to do in order to get it. So it's easier for them to persecute us. It's easier for them to blame us. All right? It's easier for them to demonize us. All right? So people, I'm going to pick this up again, not today, because for some reason this has drained me. Okay? And I'm going to go ahead and try to get both of these uploaded today. I got 3 hours before the office closes today. I don't know how long it's going to take me to upload. Usually it goes pretty quick. But I'm going to go ahead and... Here, let me go ahead and go over all of these before I close it out. See, you are not responsible for the indoctrination that you received as a child. Okay? No, you are not responsible. All right, because you didn't have no might in your hands as a child being indoctrinated by the worst of the heathen. Okay, however, you are 100% responsible as an adult to unlearn all these lies that you've been taught. Okay, and learn the truth via the Spirit of truth. All right. When I shall say to the righteous that he shall surely live, if he begin to trust in his own righteousness and it's not righteousness, all right? When it says trust in your own righteousness, that's literally following the precepts of mortal men instead of the truth of the living God. Okay? So when you begin to follow the precepts of mortal men, all right, that's trusting in men's righteousness. Okay? That's not trusting in the righteousness of the true and living God. So when you're trusting in men's righteousness, the precepts of mortal men, then you will begin to commit iniquity. All right? And all our supposed righteousness and all of our real righteousness that we once had before we started following the precepts of men, it's not going to be remembered. All right? See, if I was to begin to follow the dictates of mortal men, all right, leaving off that which I've been given by way of the Spirit, then none of what I've done in righteousness of the true and living God would be remembered. Okay, that would go away because I have chosen to forsake this and follow after the ways of this world. Okay, and then for my iniquity that I committed, I would die for it. Okay, but I ain't choosing that. I'm choosing to endure. Okay, I'm choosing to continuously endure. All right. So I will receive the reward of the righteous, all right, not the wicked. All right, all the wicked is going to receive the reward of the wicked because you refuse to unlearn what you have learned. Okay, you are holding on to deception. You are refusing to take into consideration that these lands were taken over via colonization, and those who colonized these lands were not righteous, and the descendants of these invaders were not righteous, and their economic system, which they established, is not righteous. This system is not righteous. Therefore, if you continue upholding this unrighteous system, refusing to unlearn the indoctrination, then you are on the path. You're on the path of utter destruction. Okay? And I am trying my best to spare you from it. Unlearn what this system has taught you and relearn your true purpose. Now, if you were the type of person that had your heart set after physical prosperity, the Father has a purpose for you. Okay? He allowed you to get your prosperity. Now, if you choose eternal benevolence in hearing these messages, you are to be obedient and utilize your prosperity for righteousness' sake, taking your place as a righteous am for his servant. Okay? That's your purpose. All right? You can't force me away from my purpose. You can't force me away from my spiritual mission. All that's for you is either to accept your spiritual purpose given unto you via eternal benevolence or reject it. Okay? That you don't have no authority over my life. Okay? You can't impose your will upon me other than forcing me to long suffer. But I'm going to be rewarded for it. Okay? And you're going to suffer for it. As the material world continues to crumble, a lot of people who are stuck on a third dimensional mentality will start verbally and or attacking chosen ones because we're exposing their erroneous beliefs and illusions. All right? As businesses, religions, politics, and the monetary system diminishes, 85% of people don't have a purpose outside of that elusive framework. Okay? Y'all have to understand it's not about what y'all got. It's about who you are mentally and spiritually. When you divinely get that glowful aura, most people can't stand you. Okay? Most people, your light my light automatically reveals the darkness in others. Okay? That cannot be helped, people. You want to claim that I'm arrogant. You want to claim I think I'm better than others, but you are refusing to go within yourself and subdue your ego, subdue your demons. I did that. Okay? So quit blaming me. I'm not the problem. No, you're the problem. Okay? You need to fix yourself. You need to humble yourself. And you're refusing to do that. Okay? When your energy is authentic, it automatically reveals all the pretenders. Okay? That ain't our fault. It ain't my fault that I'm revealing the pretenders. Alright? It's not like I'm doing it on purpose. I'm not going to dim my light just because you love darkness. What the hell is wrong with you people? See, I don't care about being respected and or accepted for what I have materially. I would like to be respected for who I am. I would like to be respected. I would like my spiritual mission to be respected. You know, I would like for people to stop trying to impose their wicked will upon me, trying to force me away from my spiritual mission to participate in this wicked ass system. Alright, so, I'm not about going alone to get alone for money and status. Becoming docile to the real reality. Blinding myself from the suffering of others. Blinding myself from the misery of others. No, sir, no, ma'am. I seen it all my life, and I wanted clarity and understanding, and now I have received it. Alright? So they have been under indoctrination, miseducation, lies, and injustice, etc. Alright? People have been used to mentally and physically enslave us. Alright? Well, keep us enslaved. Okay? Slavery has become sophisticated. You're keeping me enslaved to necessity. You're keeping me long suffering as long as you continue to harden your heart condition and shut up your bowels of compassion, refusing to assist me out of your abundance. In order to even begin to understand what's going on in the world right now, you have to be open to the idea of unlearning everything that you have been taught to believe by the worst of the heathen. Okay? I brung this up, but I didn't go over it. Maybe I'll remember to bring it back. But, as you can see here, overview, we turn to gods of death and bloodshed. We refuse to hearken to the voice of the Most High God. Okay? And this was after we had received the promised land. We received the blessed promised land. And the true and living God knew in foreknowledge that we will break his law, that we will turn from his law, and we will follow after blood gods, and we will shed much blood in this land. And my brethren are continuously participating in this iniquity. And yet they wonder why these nations have treated us the way they've been treating us. Alright? It's not a wonder. Okay? We were treated according to our actions. We were treated as 3/5 of a human being, like animals. We're the only nation that went through chattel slavery. That's because of how we treated the animals. That's because of how we treated his creation, his sentient creation. I really wish my brethren grasp this revelation. Okay? I did not do this video to harm any of my brethren. Okay? This is to elevate. This is to edify. This is to uplift my brethren if they are willing. Okay? Crazy how life works. The best people get hit with the worst of times. We suffer the most. The genuine hearts are the first to be taken and used for granted. You have been taking my kindness for granted. You have been taking my generosity for granted. You have been taking my time, energy, and effort for granted. You have been taking my spiritual mission for granted. You have been doing all of these things against the one who hath sent me. All right? Those with sincere intentions are pushed off as too good to be true. We're stuck in a game where winning gets you nowhere. My obedience seems to be getting me nowhere. My obedience seems to be getting me nothing but endless suffering and misery. We have inconsistent people expecting consistency. I've been consistently giving this truth by way of the Spirit while living it. Liars complaining that nobody is true. Yeah, you blind yourself from me. Fakes demanding loyalty. Yeah, you blinding yourself from seeing me. Everybody's asking for love, but only few are actually living it and walking in it. But you again blind yourself from it. You hate the meek, tender-hearted vessels of mercy. And you have no idea how abominable that is. It's one thing. I mean, hell, he don't want you being evil to anybody. He don't want you being cold-hearted to anybody. Even the most wicked person, you know. But when you're cold-hearted to a tender-hearted vessel of mercy, that is abominable. Okay? This is from the book of remembrance of Enoch. Okay? We live in a world where many are unattached to their young. All right? And these animals here are, the people that are upon the earth, the wicked, are likened to these animals. Okay, it's not talking about actual animals. All right, is using animals as not really is they're compared to the animals. Okay, this is talking about people, not animals. Okay. And the fowls and the beasts and the creatures and the creeping things seem to not love one another, nor have any consideration toward one another. Okay? That's the world that we were born in. Alright? We live in a world where people are not loving one another. They instead love their money and their materialistic things. Okay? They don't have no consideration toward one another. They are selfish and greedy. Okay? And they only dealt with their young, all right, so that they could survive. And they were without emotion, and all of their spirits were empty and void of any awareness, and they were distant towards one another, and everything was isolated and independent. Selfish ambition, every man for himself, survival of the fittest. Okay, that's the mentality of the worst of the heathen. That is not a righteous mentality. That is not a righteous heart condition. That is not keeping the eternal law of loving your neighbor as thyself. You are following the plan of Lucifer. All right. Everything is isolated and independent one toward the other of the kind of it, and they all were very cold-hearted and selfish. You don't want to continue being this way. Okay? You must unlearn this. Okay? Now, I stand with the truth even though I am continuously alone. I will continue this most likely tomorrow I'll pick it back up, okay? I just happened to look at the clock and it says 222. When I get off of here, I'm going to look up what that the repeating number of 222 is. But on that note, shalom.